who start on the very front of he's bidding still for that 100th. Super Davies is able to make an impression. It would be good to completing the fourth row of the grid. It will be a focus shot between Toprak, Razgatlioglu.
Advice. And now for a harder tyre, the SC0 tyre.
Did yesterday, remember, with that heavy rain coming. But I tell you what, it may be the title will be settled at a brand new to get started until presumably the conditions.
All the riders are going to do their best just to keep
wet conditions against Toprak. They're not
in there, just telling Toprak just to keep changeable conditions. What we've seen from Toprak is
the decision is been made.
It's going to be key is that the riders are going to have to change tyres, and if anyone does
weather conditions, drops of rain in the first weekend, and Jonathan Ray and later on might have to think about defending position.
Stars, he'll also know that this is a track where leading lap, and then they'll come back to the starting grid now, and we'll likely have
reaction to that whole drama
at turn 10, so presumably that's where we saw that close.
Certain areas of this track are
it is just a case of mechanics on the grid. Can't see
if there was any sign that 30 points might be a
we'll be thinking let's get this race underway, but it is start of the race.
Information along the bottom of your screen. Harder tyre in the case of the
earlier in the season in Aragon.
Like this. Is there anyone who's going to feel that it's worth a gamble in?
Chaz Davis from the fourth row of the grid.
Ray with the helmet off then starts from the station on the grid as well.
You can see the officials down.
The better of them. Well, or at least he's not letting us. We of course had the abandonment or the postponement.
A little bit on the limit that they wanted to see some change. It was cleaned off in this morning's sessions, obviously, and the sighting lap's going to be really critical. You can see for Toprak on the grid, a minute to go on the dry weather tyres, so that's interesting. So
old delay, we will finally get ready.
Had been on Bautista still out there on the next tyre as well.
On his warm-up lap, caution will be
the 10.
Jonathan Ray with a big opportunity. Anyway, reminder of the championship situation. Count back if it is required. So
himself and Isaac Viñales both switched from the X tyre on. This has always been key.
2021 Pirelli Indonesian round. He has 2 scoring opportunities to make up. Gerloff comes through on Toprak, Razgatlioglu. Tentative. Bassani comes through as well. Bautista all the way up from 14th on the grid to 7th. And Tom Sykes right on the pace and right on the case. The championship given these conditions as Tom Sykes and 16. Jonathan Ray beginning to have to defend now. Collect the back of him. Ray holds firm. Less than
good job at this stage, keeping a watching brief there.
Experienced men are able to make the difference in these conditions.
As you can see for Toprak there, he looks like he's got that little bit of everyone's still out there trying to do what they can in these damper.
Ruben Rinaldi, after a strong start to this race, has dropped in race 1.
Yeah, Toprak wants to win the championship in turn 10. That's where it is getting a little bit dicey. He's still having a little bit of an endo on the run into
who now cuts through on Scott Redding. Set a 1 second deficit to the top 2. He gained all. Jonathan Ray is going to be desperately keen in this season.
In this lead group very quickly.
Michael van der Mark, the winner. We ride on board now with Jonathan Ray. Nothing having a go at Jonathan Ray as they come in towards
the number 60 machine, the orange helmet at the back of this group.
With the likes of Razgatlioglu and Ray. Dropped off half a second now to Toprak the race.
Behind the race leader, we'll see if he's able to bridge some of that gap. He needs
on the grid. 1 single podium finish. Ray does copy Axel Bassani's out of the way. No quarter given there. Razgatlioglu now will be aggressive on Bassani. No
Italian 7th spot, and then Garrett Gerloff 13.
As Razgatlioglu makes his move on Jonathan Ray. Has got Bassani and Redding tucked up all on.
6th, the winner in the damp conditions in Portimao.
And teammate Tom Sykes. So Van der Mark aiming to clear.
Faster and faster. 36.7 for Toprak last time around.
That works much better for Toprak than it does.
Aggressive he's willing to be on the racetrack.
At 5th position, but quite rightly our focus on against Scott Redding. Still only half a second covering that. Particularly good through that final sector, it would appear.
Yeah, Jonathan
Ray has had plenty of incidents over the course of the tiniest of margins. Couple of tenths of a second the gap.
Safer race as possible for him as much as anything.
Across the last timing point, then there's a full slipstream, not close enough this time around into turn 1.
Race, we've seen them battling bar to bar.
Stay in front of Axel Bassani and Scott Redding. Speed world champion.
Toprak there, he went in a little bit too deep.
The key here for Jonathan Ray, can't allow Razgatlioglu right in front of him, sees dark clouds above him, but
this is a barroom brawl. You got to make sure that any opportunity.
Respect Jonathan Ray has got for Toprak Razgatlioglu. Watch out for Scott Redding, who's closing in on them. New little extra bit of spice into this mix. Further
of course, this season, trail breaking like that hasn't been
long.
This is why these are two of the best riders in the world.
Ray right out onto the paint, sliding across.
10 is a little bit tighter than Toprak. He's trying to just
stop Toprak Razgatlioglu is by beating Jonathan Ray through 15 and 16, and that's bad news for Ray.
Yeah, Ray got beaten up, lost 4-10.
Quick word as well for Axel Bassani, still less trails Gerloff. Back to the front of the field.
Earlier than the other riders, he's able to open the gas a little bit early.
Wide, very wide for Redding over the line for a new fastest lap of the race. So
I've seen that mistake for Toprak. That would have given him a lot more shoulder to see where Bassani is, but that's
sling and harrying him. Razgatlioglu now 1.4.
This lap already, he's pulled back a few tenths of a second, and it was
Campaigner, the master, who's had good fortune, dominated, has stabilised his pace. He's 1.6 Ducatis. Scott Redding, can he stay in front? Ray, as has customarily been the case,
down into there. The gap between Ray and Razgatlioglu
to 3. So Toprak is growing in confidence. You can do it, say Ducati to Scott Redding, and he's
certainly. We'll see if Toprak's able to pull back another few tenths. Last time around, you can
see in at 4th position, but he's now 2.8 seconds for top spot. Might have been 4 tenths at one, slightly wider into 16, but there's no opportunity. It's not close enough back into turn 1. Time running out.
He knows that he will get close enough, but into
disaster for Ray as things stand. He must get past Scott Redding.
And looked like Jonathan ran over something there.
Quickly enough. Toprak has seen blood.
He's got a chance to do it. You'd see Redding there with that little bit of it to try and get close enough now.
These are the now is to the tail of Scott Redding. Could they even?
And we've seen a lot of moves made into there. Looks like
the 2 championship contenders, and if he stays there, even with Jonathan Ray in front, Jonathan Ray will surely be informed of the current. Give us a last race decider to this 2021.
He's got a couple of tenths of a second in hand on Scott Redding.
He'll have only 2 laps now to find his way through.
He's done exactly what he could do in this race. He's
race wins in feature-length races, which is the count moments, nervous moments for Razgatlioglu.
Yeah, Toprak
from the end, and the race is finally beginning.
I'm not going to lie, this is why every neutral loves Toprak. He's got
Razgatlioglu 134.288.
Alex 6 tenths of a second taken out of Jonathan Ray last time around.
Behind the race leader, so Jonathan Ray. Championship will be decided. Toprak Razgat through the order. But it's all has begun in World SBK. The 20 performance from him, forceful when he needed to be.
We've seen Toprak Razgatlioglu and Jonathan Ray fighting team as relaxed as possible. Yamaha's
the same bubbly character that you always see at race. Number 1, Toprak Razgatlioglu. How about?
He's had to push hard in almost every race
of the world. Then you've had to get up at an 25 championship points.
Definitely looked like he was willing to attack, and I think that says everyone will see Chan in action in the super sport class.
We're expecting this, and quite rightly so. Razgatlioglu,
the course of the last couple of years.
Well, we haven't seen any stoppies.